All right, good evening, everybody. This is not the right side. Well, it's the right side. It's just too far. But this is the first video of the 2018-19 school year. We got the segment addition postulate. So I put this up in, I think, 5th period. But there are basically 5 steps to solving this. Now you should all have your notes. So we're going to go step 1, color code. That's the yellow, blue, green. Step 2 is the rule statement. Now the rule statement comes from the postulate itself. The postulate itself is the ABC or collinear. B is between A and C. And therefore the distance from A to B plus the distance from B to C is equal to the distance from A to C. So we write that down, we then substitute it out, and then we go ahead and solve. Once we have solved for the variable, on the first page, that's fine. That's all we need to do. On the second page, we're then being asked whether or not we're then being asked to then use that variable, plug it in. So that's why step 5 has a little star next to it, and it says plug in variable. Those are 2 separate words, not invariable, like it doesn't change, but plug in space variable if necessary. Okay. So, number 5, step 1, color code. Yellow plus blue equals green. Okay? The 2 small parts of the segment are going to add up to the big part of the segment. Think about the bell work we did. If we came and found those 2 broken pieces on the ground, PQ and then one of unknown length, we would know that if we could add them both up together, we'd get the length of the original. So then we're going to write the rule statement. The rule statement here is the distance from P to Q. Now remember that because we aren't putting a line or any arrows above it, that PQ by itself means the distance from one point to the other. We're going to add that to the distance from Q to R, and together, those are going to give us the distance from P to R. So that's step 2. Step 3, plug in. 3 plus question mark equals 14. So we're looking for that missing length, so we're just going to subtract 3. So we're going to write it out. Subtract 3 from both sides. This is the solve part. And we get question mark equals 11. And that's it. Now here, because there's nothing to go and plug back into, we're done. So we're done at number 4. Don't have to worry about that. Okay, so now we are going to look at number 11. Again, step 1, we're going to go ahead and yellow and blue make green. Okay, so that's step 1, color code. Step 2 is write our rule statement. So we're going to go JK plus KL equals JL. Okay, the 2 smaller parts, when added up, their lengths equal the big part. And again, remember, we're not saying JK plus KL equals JL. What that means is the distance from J to K plus the distance from K to L equals the distance from J to L. So that's step 2. Step 3, substitute. So what we're going to do is instead of JK, we're going to write 7. Instead of KL, we're going to write 2x plus 25. And instead of JL, we're going to write x plus 21. So now we're going to solve it. So the 2x is there. And then we add the 7 and the 25 together. We get 32. And that's going to equal x plus 21. What I want to do next is combine my variables. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. 2x minus x is x. We bring down the 32. And we get 21. So we have x plus 32 equals 21. We subtract 32 from both sides. And we get x equals negative 11. So that's our answer. Now, as always, if we wanted to, we could go and double check. How we do that is we'd plug in the negative 11 for x. So if we plug in the negative 11 right here, we're going to get 2 times negative 11 plus 25. That gives me negative 22 plus 25, or 3. So we look at this and go, okay, what's 7 plus 3? And that equals 10. So we should be able to plug in our x here and get 10. Well, do we get negative 11 plus 21? And that's going to give us 10, so that checks out. Okay, so that's it. Next, we are going to look at, that's not what I want to do, number 17. So what we're going to do is, again, step 1, color code. Yellow, blue, green. What just happened? Step 1, color code. There we go. I don't know what all those lines are from. I think it's when I was trying to zoom in. So, okay. Sound effects too. So we have ST. Now this is the writing our rule statement. Remember, the rule statement is the distance from S to T plus the distance from T to U is equal to the distance from S to U. Step number 3, substitute. Instead of S to T, we're going to write 2x plus 22 plus x plus 21 equals 16. 2x, where I'm going to rewrite this and put everything together. So I put my variable terms together and my constants together. 2x plus x is 3x. 22 plus 21 is 43, equals 16. I am then going to subtract 43 from both sides. And I'm going to get 3x equals negative 27. Divide both sides by 3, and I get x equals negative 9. I'm looking for ST here. Now remember, ST without that line means the distance from S to T. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that 2x plus 22 and I'm going to substitute in that x equals negative 9. So I'm going to go 2 times negative 9 plus 22. That gives me negative 18 plus 22. Or ST, meaning the distance from S to T, equals 4. I can check that by going 21 minus 9 equals 12. So that's 4, that's 12. I get 4 plus 12 equals 16, so that checks out. Okay, next, 19. I'm going to do this again because for some of you, weren't really paying attention, so I want to kind of go over this bit by bit. Step 1, color code. GH plus HI, or color code. Too small, yellow and blue make green, the long one. Step number 2, write your rule. Distance from G to H plus the distance from H to I is equal to the distance from G to I. Substitute 2x plus 1 plus 12 equals x plus 13. Step number 4, solve. So we're going to subtract x from both sides, and we get x plus 13 equals 13. Subtract 13 from both sides, and we get x equals 0. Now again, distance is probably not going to be 0. X can be, just like we've talked about in class. X can be negative. Distance can't. X can be 0. Distance can't. So what we're going to do is we're going to find GI. So we're going to plug mark 0 in there. And we are going to go 0 plus 13, or 13. Notice if I plug in a 0 there, I get my rule statement now reads 1 plus 12 equals 13. It does, so that checks. Okay. So, I know this is extra credit, so if you're not doing this, feel free to go ahead and skip to the next one. But I want to show you how to do this. So our general rule statement here is that DE plus EF plus FG, because this is extra credit, I'm going to kind of speed through it, equals D to G. Now we know that D to E is equal to D to F minus E to F. We know that E to F is equal to 2x plus 23. And we know that E to G, or F to G, is equal to E to G minus E to F. So notice what I did here was I just listed what we know and how we're going to find each one. So now that I've got all those done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug that back in. So instead of D to E, I'm going to write DF minus EF. I can still write EF. And then instead of F to G, I'm going to write EG minus EF. And all of those together are going to equal D to G. So this gives me DF plus EG minus EF. And again, these are distances, equals the distance from D to G. Substitute out 7 plus x plus 22 minus 2x plus 23 equals x plus 26. So now we have to solve that. So we're going to go x plus 29 minus 2x plus 23 equals x plus 26. What's going on? Shammer's got out? Okay. Negative x plus 6 equals x plus 26. We're going to add x to both sides. So we're going to get 6 equals 2x plus 26. Wow. We're then going to subtract 26 from both sides. And we're going to get negative 20 equals 2x. It's okay, no one actually listens to these. They just subscribe for the extra credit. Divide by 2, and we get x equals negative 10. Because some people do actually watch them. But it's very few. And I think most of the people just sit there and copy down what it is instead of actually listening to them. We'll see. If they don't, then people will comment on it tomorrow. What? They'll go, what is that?
Ethan bought me Pop-Tarts.
You're such a weirdo. Okay. So how do we know it works? We'll go in, plug everything back in. We're going to plug in a negative 10 there. So we get 2 times negative 10 plus 23. So we're going to get E to F equals 3. We know that that's 12. That's 4, 9, 16. So we go 4 plus 3 is 7. Plus 9 equals 16. 7 plus 9 does equal 16, so we're good to go. Onward and upward. Step 1. Color code. So I told you guys to skip 21, 24, 25. Now, the rest of, so 20, 23, and 24 are all going to be like this, okay? You're going to have 3 colors. Now, I know yellow plus blue plus red doesn't equal green, but they're the colors I chose, so deal with it. So that was step 1. Step 2 is write our rule statement. Now, look at what I did here. The distance from V to U, that's our yellow, plus the distance from U to T, that's our blue, plus the distance from T to S, that's our red. If I add all of those together, I'm going to get the distance from V to S. Substitute x plus 10 plus x plus 9 plus 8 equals 25 plus x. Solve it. X plus 10 plus 9 plus 8 equals 25 plus x. That gives me 2x, 10 plus 9 plus 8 gives me 27, equals 25 plus x. Subtract x from both sides. We get x plus 27 equals 25. Subtract 27 from both sides, and we get x equals -2. We need to find the distance from U to T, so we're going to plug that -2 in for x, and we get U to T, that distance equals 7. Check everything out. 8 plus 7 plus 8 equals 23. Sure does. 8 plus 8 is 16. 16 plus 7 is 23. Okay, so these last 3 are all kind of, they're word problems, right? Ish. They're actually just problems without a picture. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw a picture. And we're going to go, so we have A, B, and C are collinear. That means we have a line right there, see? A, B, and C all on the same line. And I'm going to color code. Okay, A to B is yellow, B to C is blue, and A to C is green. Now, this is the exact same color coding as we did the very first time we did this on notes. So my rule statement is the actual rule statement from the thing. Is Bella in bed yet?
Yeah.
Okay. Did she take Brea with her?
Probably.
Oh, is it? Okay. Those red cameras are still on here. So that's going to give us 4x plus 2. So that's our AB. Plus -1 plus 3x is B to C. How can you eat those? They're so gross.
Pop-Tarts?
Pop-Tarts are gross. Tell your boyfriend to instead get you
Toaster strudels. Well,
toaster strudels.
Because one night when we were house sitting for Angelica, I was craving them really hardcore, so we bought me a 16-pack, and I just have them in my room for when I'm hungry.
Weirdo. Okay. So we have yellow plus blue, and they're going to equal green, which is 15. So we're going to go 4x plus 2 minus 1 plus 3x equals 15. That's going to give us 4x plus 3x. Notice what I'm doing here is I'm rewriting them. I'm using the commutative property of addition to move everything around. So we end up with 7x plus 1 equals 15. Subtract 1 from both sides. We get 7x equals 14. Divide by 7. And we get x equals 2. And that's it. End of the first video. Yeah, so there you go. I'm assuming that very few people watch this because it's already 10 o'clock, which means this won't get posted till about probably 11:30. And I apologize. But if you have any questions, feel free to come by during lunch or anything like that, and have a wonderful evening.